Picture this. A woman in a fur wrap 40,000 years ago crouched at the edge of a frozen tree line. Snow everywhere, white on white on white. And then, there it is, a single drop of blood on the snow, still steaming. She doesn't think. She doesn't reason it out. Her whole body just reacts, heart rate up, muscles tense, eyes locked on that one impossible dot of color in an otherwise colorless world. That's not fear. Well, it is fear, but it's older than fear. It's software. And here's the thing. You're still running it. Right now, today. You feel it every single time you glance at a check engine light or a Zale, 70% off sign, or a red flag on your dating app. Same reaction, same ancient alarm bell, different century. So here's the mystery we're chasing today. Why does one specific wavelength of light, just red, out of the entire visible spectrum, override rational thought in literally every human culture on Earth? Not some cultures, all of them. We're going to trace this thing back through your eyeballs, through blood and fire, through ancient war paint and modern stock tickers. And by the end, you're never going to look at a stop sign the same way again. Let's start with the eyes themselves. Because here's something wild. Most mammals can't even see red properly. Dogs, cats, most of the animal kingdom, they're working with a fairly limited color palette, basically some shades of blue and yellow-green, but primates. We evolved something called trichromatic vision, 3 types of color receptors instead of 2. And one leading theory says it happened for one very specific reason: fruit, ripe fruit, hanging in a sea of green leaves, practically glowing red against the foliage. The primates who could spot that faster, who could pick out red against green in half a second from 30 feet up in a canopy, ate more calories, survived more winters, had more offspring. Over millions of years, that edge compounded into something permanent, wired straight into the back of your skull. You're reading these words right now using a visual upgrade your ancestors paid for in fruit. But, and here's where it gets darker, that same wiring didn't just help us find dinner. It helped us find danger. Blood is red for a boring biological reason. Iron, oxygen, a molecule called hemoglobin doing exactly what it's supposed to do. But the meaning humans attach to seeing it, not boring at all. Blood outside the body means something has gone catastrophically wrong. An injury, a predator, a death. So evolution didn't just give us the ability to see red, it wired an emotional siren directly into that detection, and it fires faster than conscious thought can keep up with. And it's not just us. Look around nature, and red shows up again and again as nature's own warning label. Poison dart frogs, certain mushrooms, the red hourglass on a black widow's belly, the bright red and black banding some coral snakes used to say back away. Biologists even have a name for this, aposematism, bright, often red coloring that basically says eating me is a mistake you will only make once. Predators that ignore that warning don't get a second chance to learn from it, which means the ones who do learn fast are the ones who pass their genes on. Red became a shortcut, a species-wide do not touch sign that needed no translation. So by the time humans show up with language and culture, we're not inventing the red equals danger connection. We're just the first species that can talk about it. And talk about it we did independently. Repeatedly across cultures that had zero contact with each other. Ancient warriors painted themselves red before battle, not just for intimidation, but as a kind of visual threat display, the same instinct that makes a baboon's face flush before a fight. Red ochre shows up in burial sites going back over 100,000 years, sprinkled over bones like the earliest humans were trying to put life, blood, back into the dead. Roman generals wore red cloaks into battle. Chinese emperors used red as the color of power, luck, and celebration. Ancient Egyptians associated red with chaos and the god set, while reserving it for danger-adjacent warnings on official texts. Medieval heraldry used red, gules, in the old language of coats of arms, specifically to signal courage and bloodshed on a battlefield. Completely separate civilizations, thousands of miles and thousands of years apart, all landing on the same color for the same emotional register. This matters, pay attention. Something serious is happening here. Now, quick myth check, because there's one red danger story you've probably heard that's actually completely false. Bulls do not get angry at the color red. Bulls are red-green colorblind. What sets them off in a bullfight is the movement of the cape, not its color. The red is purely for the human audience, for us, because we're the ones hardwired to read it as danger and drama, which is honestly the funnier twist. The aggressive bull cliché was never about the bull's instincts. It was about ours. Fast forward to the world you actually live in, and the ancient alarm system never got the memo that we invented electricity. Stop signs are red because traffic engineers in the early 1900s deliberately borrowed the oldest warning color humans have. Hazard labels, fire extinguishers, emergency exits, the little red dot on your phone telling you something needs your attention right now. All of it is built on a reflex that predates writing, predates agriculture, predates language itself, and retailers figured this out a long time ago too. Red sale tags aren't random. They trigger urgency, scarcity, a tiny jolt of that same ancient alertness, just aimed at your wallet instead of a predator. The stock market flashes red when money is being lost, for the exact same reason a wound is red. Something here is bleeding. Even the phrase red flag, the one you use to describe a bad date or a suspicious email, is a direct descendant of literal warning flags flown on ships and battlefields for centuries. The color doing the exact same job it's always done, just with lower stakes. Funny enough, red didn't stay purely negative, it split. The same intensity that reads as danger also reads as importance, desire, celebration. Red carpets, red roses, red as the color of luck in Chinese New Year. Same wavelength, same ancient jolt of pay attention, just rerouted toward things we want instead of things we fear. So step back for a second. Every red light you've ever stopped at, every red warning label you've ever obeyed without thinking, every impulse buy triggered by a red tag, all of it is the same 100,000-year-old reflex, just wearing a modern costume. You're not a person living in the 21st century reacting to modern signals. You're a very old animal running very old software, and the operating system never got updated, just the interface. That drop of blood on the snow and that blinking check engine light are, biologically speaking, the exact same event. Same alarm, different century. If this kind of hidden history rabbit hole is your thing, you know what to do. Subscribe, because we're only getting started. Don't forget to like and subscribe, so you will the first to know whenever I drop a new video.